A very good morning to all my dear friends. I welcome you once again in part 19 of Knowledge Series on Model GST Law. In this part, we'll be discussing and covering the provisions pertaining to assessment under the Model GST Law. Chapter 12 is the relevant chapter under which the assessment and the provisions relating to the same has been discussed in CGST SGST Act. And this chapter, that is chapter 12, comprises of section 44 to section 48. Now let us discuss each of these sections one by one and understand the provisions of assessment under the Model GST law. But before starting the discussion of section 44, let us understand the meaning of term assessment. As per me, assessment is one of the most important terms so far as any tax is concerned. And in that scenario of Indian taxation, most of the tax are self-assessment based taxation regimes. Similarly, GST is also going to be a self-assessment based taxation regime. Now, what is self-assessment? Self-assessment is nothing but when a person or a taxable person or an assessee determines his tax liability on his own and pay taxes accordingly and file the return, such assessment becomes a self-assessment. We will be discussing this also in detail, but let us first understand the term assessment. Under clause 12 of section 2 of the CGST SGST Act of Model GST law, the term assessment has been defined. And how it has been defined? It has been defined as assessment means. So it becomes an exhaustive definition. Assessment means determination of tax liability under this act. So whatever tax liability you are determining under this particular act, it becomes an assessment. And this includes, the term assessment means determination of tax liability under this act and includes self-assessment, reassessment, provisional assessment, summary assessment, and best judgment assessment. I am repeating, clause 12 of section 2 of CGST SGST Act of Model GST provides the definition of assessment. Assessment has been defined as, it means determination of tax liability under this act and includes self-assessment, reassessment, provisional assessment, summary assessment, and best judgment assessment. So my dear friends, now we need to understand what is self-assessment, what is reassessment, what is provisional assessment, what is summary assessment, and what is best judgment assessment under the Model GST law. I believe and I am very sure that all of us have come across these terms earlier also, irrespective of the fact whether we are practicing under indirect tax or not. Even in case of income tax, these terms are quite familiar to all of us. So now, let us try to understand how the provisions are framed for these terms under the GST regime. So let us start with section 44. Section 44 discusses about the self-assessment part. Now, as we discussed, self-assessment is nothing but the assessment of tax liability by the assessee or the taxpayer himself and payment of the same accordingly as per the provisions of that particular statute is the self-assessment. And then thereafter declaring such assessed liability on his own to the tax authorities by way of filing of returns. So similarly, I would say the exact provisions are there under section 44 of the CGST SGST Act of Model GST law. Section 44 provides, every registered taxable person shall himself assess the tax liability under this act pay such tax as per the provisions of this act and file a periodical return under section 27 of this act. It means, number 1, he should assess his liabilities on his own. Number 2, he should pay the same as per the provisions of this act. And number 3, after paying the same, he should file the return under section 27 of the act. Moving further, there is an explanation inserted in section 44 of the CGST SGST Act which deals with self-assessment, and the explanation provides that where goods received in pursuance of an inward supply are returned by the recipient of the goods to the supplier of the goods within 6 months from the date of the relevant invoice, then the tax payable on such returned goods shall be equal to the input tax credit availed earlier in respect of such inward supply. It means, अगर 6 महीने के अंदर आपने कोई गुड्स जो आपके लिए इनवर्ड सप्लाई थी वो आप रिटर्न करते हैं, और 6 महीने कब से? फ्रॉम द डेट ऑफ रेलेवेंट इनवॉइस। रेलेवेंट इनवॉइस के डेट के 6 महीने के अंदर अगर आप अपनी इनवर्ड सप्लाई को रिटर्न करते हैं तो उस पे जो आपकी टैक्स लायबिलिटी होगी इट विल बी इक्वल टू द इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट अवेल्ड। जितना आपने इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट उस इनवर्ड सप्लाई पे अवेल किया होगा एट द टाइम ऑफ इनवर्ड of that supply, the same amount will be your tax liability when you are returning those goods within a period of 6 months from the date of the relevant invoice. तो साहब ये सेक्शन 44 था which was discussing about the provisions pertaining to self assessment, जिसमें सिंपल 3 कंडीशंस कोई भी रजिस्टर्ड टैक्सेबल पर्सन को अपने आप अपनी लायबिलिटी असेस करनी है, नंबर 1। नंबर 2, इस एक्ट के प्रोविजंस के हिसाब से उसको टैक्स का पेमेंट करना है, एंड नंबर 3, सेक्शन 27 में जो रिटर्न है प्रेस्क्राइब, उस रिटर्न को उसको भरना है। ये तीनों कंडीशंस सेल्फ असेसमेंट का पार्ट है। इट मीन्स एवरी रजिस्टर्ड टैक्सेबल पर्सन shall assess the tax liability on his own, pay the same as per the provisions of this act, and after making the payment, file a return under section 27 of the model GST law. And further to this, there is an explanation which has been inserted which says that if there are any goods which you have taken as an inward supply and you are returning those goods to the supplier within a duration of 6 months from the date of relevant invoice, then the tax liability at the time of removal or at the time of return shall be equivalent to the amount of input tax credit that you have availed at the time when you have recorded that as an inward supply. So साहब ये section 44 के provisions थे, and if we compare these provisions, then in case of central excise, I would say that rule 6 of the central excise rules 2002 we can refer, and we can understand the provisions of self-assessment mentioned therein. In case of excise, in case of service tax, it is section 70 subsection 1 which provides for the self-assessment mechanism under service tax, and similarly section 44 under CGST SGST Act 2016 of the model GST law. Now my dear friends, let us move to next section, that is section 45 of the CGST SGST Act, and section 45 provides for the scrutiny of returns. I would say this is not new even for the indirect tax professionals, because in the existing regime, that is central excise and service tax, also scrutiny of returns is there. If we refer rule 12 of central excise rules 2002, then we can find the scrutiny of return provisions. And in case of service tax, there is a provision for detailed manual scrutiny of service tax returns via circular number 185/4/2015 dated 30th June 2015. So in case of GST section 45 provides for the scrutiny of returns. It comprises of 4 subsections. Subsection 1 of section 45 says that proper officer shall scrutinize the return so as to verify the correctness of the same. Scrutiny shall be done in the manner as may be prescribed. It means that separate rules will be announced shortly for the purpose of scrutiny of returns also. But subsection 1, so far as the provisions concerned are, it says that the proper officer shall scrutinize the returns for the purpose of verifying the correctness of the returns. Now subsection 2, it says that in case of any discrepancies noted by the proper officer, he shall inform about the such discrepancies to the taxable person in the manner as may be prescribed, and he shall seek the explanation of the taxable person. So subsection 2 सिंपल है कि अगर कोई भी डिस्क्रिपेंसी नोट करता है प्रॉपर ऑफिसर तो उसको टैक्सेबल पर्सन को इन्फॉर्म करना पड़ेगा एक प्रेस्क्राइब्ड मैनर में, और टैक्सेबल पर्सन से एक्सप्लेनेशन मांगनी पड़ेगी. सबसेक्शन 3 बोलता है कि इफ द एक्सप्लेनेशन प्रोवाइडेड बाय द टैक्सेबल पर्सन इज satisfactory, that means the proper officer is satisfied with the reply or with the explanation given by the taxable person, then he shall inform to the taxable person that yes, they are satisfied and no further action shall be taken in that regards. But let us move to subsection 4. Subsection 4 provides in case where the explanation is given but it is not satisfactory, or it is not given. I am repeating, subsection 4 of section 45 provides if the explanation, or I would say if the satisfactory explanation is not given within 30 days from the date on which he was informed about the discrepancy, or if not 30 days then such further period that may be given by the proper officer, or where the taxable person accepts the discrepancy but does not resolve it within a reasonable period of time. In both these situations, the proper officer can initiate further actions. Now, what are those actions? First, let us understand subsection 4 basic provisions first. It says, अगर आपको इंफॉर्मेशन डिस्क्रिपेंसी की इंफॉर्मेशन मिलने के 30 दिन के अंदर, या जो फर्दर एक्सटेंडेड पीरियड आपको मिला है या कोई और पीरियड आपको प्रॉपर ऑफिसर ने दिया है, उस पीरियड के अंदर अगर आपने सेटिस्फैक्ट्री आंसर्स नहीं दिए या एक्सप्लेनेशन नहीं दिए, या आपने डिस्क्रिपेंसी को एक्सेप्ट कर लिया लेकिन उसको सॉल्व करने के लिए रीजनेबल टाइम लिमिट में कोई एक्शन नहीं लिया, तो प्रॉपर ऑफिसर कैन स्टार्ट फर्दर एक्शन. नाउ व्हाट आर दोज फर्दर एक्शंस? First is, he can start an action under section 49 of the CGST SGST Act. Section 49 deals with audit by the tax authorities. So he can start an action of audit. Section 50, he can start the proceedings under section 50 also. Section 50 deals with the special audit. And further to this, he can also proceed for the determination of tax liability and collection of the same under section 51A subsection 6 or 51B subsection 6. तो ये 4 एक्शंस वो ले सकता है. सेक्शन 49 में एक्शन यानी ऑडिट स्टार्ट कर देगा आपका. सेक्शन 50 में यानी स्पेशल ऑडिट आपके लिए अनाउंस करेगा. सेक्शन 51A सबसेक्शन 6 यानी विदाउट फ्रॉड के जो इवेंट्स होते हैं वहां पे आपका असेसमेंट करेगा या डिटर्मिनेशन ऑफ लायबिलिटी एंड कलेक्शन देयर ऑफ करेगा. या फिर 51B जहां पे फ्रॉड, कल्यूजन, मिसरिप्रेजेंटेशन के केसेस होते हैं वहां पे सबसेक्शन 6 में आपका असेसमेंट करेगा. So these 4 steps or 4 actions he can take. I'm repeating once again all subsections. Subsection 1 deals with that proper officer shall scrutinize the return so as to verify the correctness of the same. Subsection 2 deals with in case there is any discrepancy found, then he need to inform to the taxpayer in the prescribed manner and ask for the explanations from his side. Subsection 3 provides if the explanations given are satisfactory to the proper officer, then he can inform to the taxpayer that he is satisfied and no further action will be taken. And subsection 4, if within the time given or 30 days from the date on which he gets the information, he is unable to satisfy the proper officer, or where he accepts his mistake but does not resolve it within a reasonable period of time, then in both the cases the proper officer may proceed further and he can initiate the actions under section 49, which relates to audit by tax authority, or under section 50, which relates to special audit, or the demand and recovery under section 51A subsection 6 or 51B subsection 6. My dear friends, this was section 45, which was dealing in scrutiny of returns. Now let us move further and discuss the provisions under section 46, which provides for the assessment of non-filer of returns. Section 46, as per me, is a best judgment assessment section. How I can say so? We'll come across that also while discussing subsection 1 and subsection 2 of section 46. Now let us start with subsection 1. Subsection 1 provides that whenever a registered taxable person fails to furnish a return under section 27 or section 31, even after service of a notice under section 32, इट मीन्स जहाँ पे भी कोई बंदा जो रजिस्टर्ड है और वो रिटर्न फाइल नहीं करता सेक्शन 27 में या सेक्शन 31 में, इवन कि उसको सेक्शन 32 का नोटिस मिल गया है रिटर्न फाइल करने के लिए, फिर भी वो अगर रिटर्न फाइल नहीं करता तो प्रॉपर ऑफिसर उसको 15 दिन का एक नोटिस दे सकती है. देन द प्रॉपर ऑफिसर मे after allowing a period of 15 days from the date of service of notice proceed to assess the tax liability. It means प्रॉपर ऑफिसर उसको नोटिस भेजेगा, उसमें 15 दिन का टाइम देगा, और अगर 15 दिन में कुछ नहीं होता देन ही विल पास अ assessment order, and that order will be on the basis of best of his judgment and the records and material that is available with him. So if we want to sum up this, then we can say that if a person who is registered under this act fails to furnish the return under section 27 or 31 even after the service of notice under section 32, the proper officer may, after allowing a period of 15 days from the date of service of notice, proceed to assess the tax liability of the said person to the best of his judgment, taking into account all the relevant material which is available or that he has gathered, and issue an assessment order within the time limit specified under subsection 7 of section 51A or 51B. So it means अगर आप रिटर्न फाइल नहीं करेंगे 27 में, 31 में आपको नोटिस मिला 32 का, फिर भी रिटर्न फाइल नहीं करेंगे, तो प्रॉपर ऑफिसर 15 दिन का टाइम देके आपकी लायबिलिटी, टैक्स लायबिलिटी खुद असेस करेगा अपने बेस्ट जजमेंट के हिसाब से, और आपको असेसमेंट ऑर्डर दे देगा विद इन द टाइम लिमिट्स विच आर मेंशन्ड अंडर सबसेक्शन 7 ऑफ 51A एंड 51B, जो 3 साल और 5 साल है. नाउ सबसेक्शन 2 सेज कि एक बार असेसमेंट ऑर्डर अगर आ गया और उसके 30 डेज के अंदर अगर टैक्सेबल पर्सन ने रिटर्न फाइल कर दिया, तो इस जो असेसमेंट ऑर्डर है, बेस्ट जजमेंट असेसमेंट ऑर्डर है जो सबसेक्शन 1 में इशू हुआ है, that will stand withdrawn. It means if the taxable person within a period of 30 days from the receipt of the assessment order under subsection 1 files a valid return, then the assessment order under subsection 1 will stand withdrawn. वो ऑटोमेटिकली विड्रॉ हो जाएगा, और जो रिटर्न है फिर फर्दर उस पर जो भी स्क्रूटनी ऑफ रिटर्न्स या जो भी असेसमेंट के प्रोसीडिंग्स होंगे वो उस पर होंगे. And further, it has been provided for the purpose of removal of doubts that nothing in this section will hamper any of the provisions relating to payment of interest, either that is section 36 or the payment of late fee section 33. उन सेक्शंस के प्रोविजंस पे कोई इफेक्ट इस सबसेक्शन का नहीं आएगा, और इंटरेस्ट और लेट फी जो लगनी है या जो उन सेक्शंस में प्रोवाइड की गई है वो लगेगी. सो दिस वाज assessment of non-filer of returns. I would say best judgment assessment in case the returns are not filed by the taxable person. The proper officer may, based on his own best judgment, pass an order which can be known as the best judgment assessment order. And if within 30 days from the service of that particular order the taxable person files a valid return, then the assessment order stands withdrawn. Now let us move further and understand section 47. Section 47 is again a section which deals with the best judgment assessment, but that is assessment of an unregistered person. पहले क्या था 46 में? The person who are registered but fails to file the return. But section 47 provides for the persons who are not registered but they are supposed to get registered. It means रजिस्ट्रेशन लेने का जिम्मेवारी तो था उनका, लेकिन उन्होंने रजिस्ट्रेशन ही नहीं लिया. So in that situation, how the best judgment order can be passed by the assessing officer or the proper officer is discussed under section 47. It says that where a taxable person fails to obtain a registration, even though liable to do so, the proper officer may proceed to assess the tax liability on his own to the best of his judgment for the relevant tax period and issue an assessment order within a period of 5 years from the due date of filing of annual return for the year to which the tax not paid relates. It means अगर आज मुझे ऑर्डर पास करना है, बेस्ट जजमेंट ऑर्डर अगर पास करना है अनरजिस्टर्ड पर्सन के अगेंस्ट में, तो आज से 5 साल पहले एनुअल रिटर्न फाइलिंग का डेट क्या होगा? 5 साल पहले का अभी 2016 चल रहा है, तो 2011 31st December 2011 is the date of filing of annual return for the tax period of 10/11 के लिए एनुअल रिटर्न फाइलिंग का डेट होगा 31 दिसंबर 2011. तो यहां पे यही बोल रहा है that it shall be issued within a period of 5 years from the due date of filing of annual return for the year to which the tax not paid relates. It means 10/11 के लिए अगर उसका नॉन पेमेंट का नोटिस भेजना है या असेसमेंट ऑर्डर पास करना है बेस्ट जजमेंट का, तो 31 दिसंबर ड्यू डेट है, 31 दिसंबर 2011, वहां से 5 साल यानी 31 दिसंबर 2016 तक आप ऑर्डर इशू कर सकते. इज इट क्लियर? इट सिंपली प्रोवाइड्स whenever a person who is a taxable person but who has not taken registration, the proper officer may assess his liability to the best of his judgment and pass the assessment order within a period of 5 years from the due date or from the date of filing of annual return of the year to which the tax not paid relates. And further, a proviso has been provided which says that no such assessment order shall be passed without giving an opportunity of being heard. That is, शोकस नोटिस इशू करना पड़ेगा और अपॉर्चुनिटी ऑफ बीइंग हर्ड देना पड़ेगा, उसके बाद ही वो बेस्ट जजमेंट ऑर्डर पास कर सकता है, नॉट प्रायर टू दैट. सो दिस इज सेक्शन 47 of the model GST law. Now let us move to section 48 of the CGST SGST Act. Section 48 deals with summary assessment in certain special cases. So this has been further divided into two subsections, subsection 1 and subsection 2. Subsection 1 provides that the proper officer may, on any evidence showing a tax liability of a person and coming to his notice with the prior approval of additional commissioner or joint commissioner, proceed to assess the tax liability of such person in the interest of revenue rather to protect the interest of revenue and issue an assessment order if he has sufficient grounds to believe that any delay in issuing such order will adversely affect the interest of revenue. सो बहुत सिंपल है सर. अगर प्रॉपर ऑफिसर को कोई भी एविडेंस के बेसिस पे ऐसा लगता है कि वहां पे टैक्स लायबिलिटी किसी पर्सन की है, तो वो एडिशनल कमिश्नर या जॉइंट कमिश्नर से प्रायर अप्रूवल लेके टैक्स लायबिलिटी असरटेन कर सकता है और असेसमेंट ऑर्डर पास कर सकता है. लेकिन एक बात का उसको ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा कि असेसमेंट ऑर्डर पास करने के समय अगर उसे यह लगता है कि अगर असेसमेंट ऑर्डर पास करने में डिले हुआ तो इंटरेस्ट ऑफ रेवेन्यू पे नेगेटिव इंपैक्ट आएगा, तभी वो असेसमेंट ऑर्डर पास कर सकता है. अदरवाइज उसको रेगुलर कोर्स ऑफ बिजनेस, जो रेगुलर कोर्स है वो फॉलो करना पड़ेगा. शोकज नोटिस इशू करना पड़ेगा, हियरिंग होगी, सब होगा. अगर उसको समरी असेसमेंट करना है तो ही शुड हैव ओनली द इंटेंशन ऑफ protecting the interest of revenue, and if he feels that any delay in passing such assessment order will adversely affect the interest of revenue, then he can issue such assessment order, otherwise not. इसके बाद इसमें एक और प्रोविजन दिया गया है कि इन केस द ओरिजिनल ओनर or a supplier of goods is not ascertainable. In that situation, in case of goods, whosoever will be the person who is possessing that goods or those goods will be supposed to be the owner of that goods, and he will be the person who will be liable to pay the tax thereon. Means, अगर एक टैक्सेबल पर्सन को आप नहीं असरटेन कर पा रहे हैं जिसकी लायबिलिटी है गुड्स पे टैक्स भरने की, तो जिस बंदे के पास वो गुड्स हैं वो बंदा लायबल हो जाएगा और उसी को सारा टैक्स इस सेक्शन में पेमेंट करना पड़ेगा. दैट मीन्स द पर्सन हु इज हैविंग द गुड्स और हु इज इन चार्ज ऑफ दोज गुड्स विल बी मेड लायबल फॉर द पेमेंट ऑफ टैक्स अंडर दिस पर्टिकुलर सेक्शन. Subsection 2. Subsection 2 provides on any application made within 30 days from the date of receipt of the order passed under subsection 1 by the taxable person or on his own motion. It means जब subsection 1 का assessment order पास हुआ उसके 30 days के अंदर taxable person या officer खुद, if the additional or joint commissioner considers that such order is erroneous, he may withdraw such order and follow the procedure laid down in section 51. It means within 30 days अगर टैक्सेबल पर्सन को लगता है कि भाई ऑर्डर गलत है, या ऑफिसर को खुद लगता है, एडिशनल कमिश्नर जॉइंट कमिश्नर को खुद लगता है कि जो ऑर्डर है वो एरोनियस है, then they may withdraw the order within 30 days, and then they need to follow the procedures which are laid down under section 51 of the act. 51 में डिमांड इन केस ऑफ शॉर्ट पेमेंट, नॉन पेमेंट और अरेंज रिफंड है, डिमांड एंड रिकवरी. सो आई एम रिपीटिंग दिस सेक्शन वंस अगेन. सेक्शन 48 deals with summary assessment in certain cases. Subsection 1 deals in where the assessing officer or the proper officer has the reason to believe that there is a tax liability of a person, and in order to protect the interest of the revenue and with the prior approval of the additional commissioner and joint commissioner, he may assess the tax liability and pass an assessment order, provided he believes that any delay in passage of such order can cause an adverse effect in the interest of revenue. Further, it has been provided that the taxable person on whom the liability pertains is not ascertainable, यानी जहां पे वो आदमी नहीं मिल पा रहा है, and such liability pertains in relation to supply of goods, then the person who is in charge of those goods will be the person who will be made liable for the payment of tax under this section. Subsection 2. Subsection 2 provides that on an application made within 30 days from the date of the receipt of the order under subsection 1 by the taxable person or on his own motion, if the additional commissioner or joint commissioner considers that the order passed by them under subsection 1 is erroneous, then they may withdraw the order and proceed under the provisions of section 51 of the Act. So my dear friends, this was all about assessment under the Model GST law under chapter 12 of CGST SGST Act, comprising of section 44 to section 48. We have discussed about self-assessment, we have discussed about provisional assessment, we have discussed about summary assessment, and we have also discussed about the best judgment assessment. With this, I would like to rest this part, and I further assure you that we will be coming out with more relevant parts in the near future so as to understand the Model GST law in a better manner. I am thankful to each one of you for giving me the patience hearing and also an opportunity to share my views on the Model GST law, which was kept in the public domain on 14th June 2016. I once again request you all to kindly send me an email on caavinash@gmail.com with your suggestions so that I can improve upon or incorporate your suggestions in my future deliberations. I further request each one of you to kindly log into www.avinashpoddar.com and www.gstclub.in and register your email ID there, because we are issuing a daily digest and a fortnightly communique in which we are sharing the knowledge to the best possible manner. In daily digest, you will be receiving the updates, the articles written by various experts in the field of GST. I once again request you all to kindly send your suggestions so that I can improve further. At last, I would request each one of you to kindly visit the site of CCH India, from where you can order the book written by me, Glimpses of GST, in which I have discussed only about the provisions of the Model GST law in brief, along with flowcharts and tables. Once again, I thank each one of you for giving me patience hearing and encouraging me to come out with more and more parts of this knowledge series on Model GST law. Thank you very much.